beyond the circle of stone fades into a soft, indigo hush. Here, the air carries the scent of damp earth and evening jasmine, a cooling perfume that marks the transition from day to dusk. We stand at the threshold of a dream painted in cobalt and amber, where every shadow holds a secret and every light offers a promise of home. Pausing at the edge of the meadow, I look across the clearing to where the moon gate stands as a silent sentinel. The circular limestone opening creates a perfect frame for the cottage, glowing like a warm hearth against the deepening blue of the sky. From this distance, the house appears as a jewel box of amber light nestled in a velvet landscape. Glistening dewdrops on velvety petals catch the very last of the silver light near the threshold. The entire scene feels suspended in time, a masterpiece of stillness and shadow. It is a vision of a sanctuary waiting to be discovered under the rising moon. Kneeling on the cool stone at the base of the moon gate, I trace the rough, weathered texture of the limestone wall. Small alpine flowers tuck themselves into the crevices, their petals appearing almost translucent in the fading light. My hands brush against the damp moss that clings to the lower masonry, feeling the vibrant life that thrives in the shadows. A pair of clean garden wellies rests quietly by the base of the wall, left behind by a gardener who has gone inside for the night. Looking up from this humble height, the archway looms large and protective against the stars. The world feels immense yet incredibly intimate from down here amongst the ferns. Stepping further in, I wander slowly toward the ivory greenhouse that stands glowing like a paper lantern in the dusk. The white timber frames catch the amber spill from the cottage windows, creating a delicate dance of light and shadow on the glass. I brush my fingertips against the smooth, painted wood as I pass, feeling the warmth trapped within the panes from the day's sun. Inside, the silhouettes of lush greenery lean toward the glass as if eavesdropping on the evening. Small birds singing from the orchard nearby provide a gentle soundtrack to my steady pace. Every step leads me deeper into the heart of this indigo wonderland. Leaning toward the texture of the central sundial, I watch the way the cobalt shadows have finally swallowed the gnomon's reach. The aged bronze is cool to the touch, etched with Roman numerals that have counted centuries of sunny afternoons. In the center of the dial, a single gardening glove rests on the stone ledge, a silent witness to a day spent tending the earth. The detail of the metalwork is stunning, featuring tiny engraved vines that seem to twist in the low light. I stay for a moment, captivated by the stillness of the metal against the living pulse of the garden. It is a quiet anchor in a sea of shifting twilight. I pause at a distance, looking across the lawn to where the potting shed sits tucked under a canopy of ancient oaks. The structure is nearly lost to the deep blue shadows, save for the amber light leaking through its small leaded windows. It looks like a miniature fortress of peace, surrounded by the dark shapes of terracotta towers waiting for the spring. Tiny honeybees hover gently over the last of the closing blossoms near the shed's eaves, returning to their hives. From here, the garden feels like a vast tapestry of sapphire and gold. The world outside the hedge ceases to exist entirely. I find myself crouching near a low limestone wall that borders the herb beds, where the scent of crushed thyme rises to meet me. My fingers wander over the cold, stackable stones, feeling the silver lichen that has mapped its way across the surface. From this low vantage point, the amber glow from the kitchen window seems to spill across the grass like a river of honey. A polished brass plant sits partially hidden among the shadows of the sage plants, reflecting a tiny spark of light. I watch the way the grass blades bend under the weight of the evening air. There is a profound sense of belonging found in the smallest of details. Turning toward the house, I stroll toward the timber veranda where the cobalt night meets the warmest amber glow. The wood underfoot creaks with a welcoming, familiar sound that echoes softly in the quiet garden. I walk past the hanging baskets overflowing with dark purple petunias that look almost black in the twilight. A classic watering can near a flower bed sits ready for the morning, its metal surface gleaming with a soft, reflected warmth. The air here is warmer, flavored by the wood smoke drifting from the cottage chimney. Each movement is slow, intentional, and filled with a growing sense of peace. My gaze rests upon the tiered fountain, where the water flows in thin silver ribbons into a dark basin. Leaning slightly toward the texture of the carved stone, I see the reflection of the rising moon dancing on the surface of the pool. The sound of the water is a rhythmic, hypnotic pulse that masks the distant whispers of the wind. A colorful butterfly, seeking rest, clings to the edge of a damp stone, its wings folded tight for the night. I watch the ripples expand and fade, mesmerized by the liquid amber light caught in the spray. It is a moment of pure, undistilled clarity. Admiring from afar, I spot the summer house nestled at the far end of the fruit trellises, its white door slightly ajar. The structure appears as a ghostly silhouette against the deep indigo woods that border the property. The warm afternoon glow has fully surrendered to the golden hour, illuminating the highest leaves of the fruit trees in a honey-colored haze. From this far-off point, the garden looks like a sacred map of rest and restoration. An open book left on a garden bench near the summer house suggests a story interrupted by the beauty of the dusk. It is a scene of perfect, unhurried grace. I kneel on the soft grass near the flower beds, reaching for a heavy velvet rose that bows toward the earth. The petals are cool and thick, holding the last of the day's warmth in their deep, dark centers. From this low angle, I look up through the foliage to see the stars beginning to pierce the cobalt veil of the sky. A sleepy cat curled subtly in a sun-drenched corner of the stone path blinks slowly at me, undisturbed. The fragrance of the damp soil is intoxicating, a grounding reminder of the cycle of growth and rest. I feel the pulse of the garden beating softly against the palms of my hands. Drifting past the herb garden, I step toward the iron bistro set that sits tucked into a private alcove of boxwood. The dark metal is intricately scrolled, casting long, spindly shadows across the cobblestones. I reach out to steady myself on the back of a chair, feeling the sturdy, reliable craft of the iron. A delicate porcelain teacup with a wisp of steam sits on the table, a quiet sign of a moment recently shared. The amber light from the nearby garden lantern bathes the nook in a soft, flickering glow. I am a ghost moving through a world made of light and shadow. My eyes focus on the antique garden bell that hangs from a weathered timber post. Leaning toward the texture of the rusted iron, I can see the intricate patterns of age that have claimed its surface. The bell is silent now, its heavy clapper hanging still in the breathless evening air. A glowing lantern on a stone pillar nearby casts a dramatic orange light across the metal, highlighting every pit and scar. I am drawn to its silent potential, a voice for the garden that only speaks when the wind is bold. It stands as a beautiful rustic anchor amidst the soft foliage. I pause at the edge of the lawn, catching a glimpse of the entire cottage reflected in the still surface of the reflection pool. The house is a beacon of amber, its windows glowing with a fierce, inviting warmth that cuts through the cobalt night. The symmetry of the scene is breathtaking, a dual world of stone and water, shadow and light. An antique lantern resting quietly on the far bank provides a secondary glow, guiding the eye across the dark water. From here, the garden feels like a vast cathedral of nature, silent and holy. It is the pinnacle of the cobalt and amber dream. I sink down once more, tracing the base of the limestone sundial where the shadows are at their deepest. The stone is cold now, losing the heat of the day to the insistent pull of the night. From this crouched position, the moon gate appears as a halo of silver light in the distance, framing the dark woods beyond. A sleepy cat, having moved from the path, now rests in the hollow of a large leaf nearby, a tiny puff of breathing fur. The world is so quiet I can almost hear the dew forming on the ivy leaves. There is safety in being small in such a beautiful, wide world. myself wandering toward the wicker chairs arranged on the veranda, their cushions looking soft and inviting in the amber spill. The movement of my walking is the only disruption in the stillness, a gentle rhythm on the wooden boards. I brush my hand over the woven texture of the armrest, feeling the familiar, homely comfort of the natural fibers. A glowing lantern on a stone pillar at the edge of the stairs illuminates my path with a warm, honey-colored light. The cottage door is just steps away, breathing out the scent of cinnamon and old books. I'm almost home, yet I am already there. My gaze rests upon the final step of the porch, where the amber light from the hallway floods out to meet the cobalt shadows of the garden. Leaning toward the texture of the old oak door, I see the soft glow of a lantern hanging just inside the entry. A sleepy cat is curled subtly in a sun-drenched corner of the mat, a final sign of the deep peace that reigns here. The garden behind me is a silent, blue masterpiece, and the home before me is a golden sanctuary of warmth. The journey ends here, where the light is always bright and the shadows are always kind. Rest now in this garden and let its peace hold you forever.